I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one, that one. Damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of This, and I'm back here with What If Deku Had Mechamaru's Powers Part 4. Yeah, I came back real quick with that, so you're welcome. And I'm not really going to recap big like I usually do with the other ones because this is pretty short and standard for what we did last time. It was basically just not two arcs, but like a few moments in one part. So yeah, that's about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, do all of that, you know what I'm going to say. Check out the Discord, and I'll put our second channel down below and put the playlist for the video for the series up here. Go check it out so you can understand what the fuck is going on so you don't get confused. And the Itachi What If will be coming out soon, about probably like on Friday, and then I'll do the one again, and then we'll just keep going back and forth and back and forth. And the Akaza thing, that's not really secure, so I don't know if I'm actually gonna post it right away or a few times later. And the What If Deku Had Daki's powers, that one's just for fun, but I am going to release it because I've written it pretty well, so get ready for that. And let's get right into it. So the last part, after the cavalry battle, Todoroki talks to Deku to tell him why he's so adamant on how he uses his powers, only to be horrified when Deku shows another side of himself. Both he and Bakugo see his scars, and Deku tells Todoroki not to derive power from hate and negativity like he does, and then soon they do fight. And for the sake of getting Todoroki out of his shell, Deku reveals his scarred body to the shock of everyone. Todoroki then uses fire finally, and the two would fight, but Deku wins. And after this, Deku and Bakugo fight. However, Deku loses because he was out of energy, and this makes Bakugo mad. But Deku manages to use a new move that he had just discovered, and it did weaken Bakugo, who was kind of even more annoyed because he was basically paralyzed and had to have Deku help him get off stage. After this, Todoroki and Bakugo get medals, and soon he goes to Gran Torino, who attacks him, so he must defend himself. As Deku's puppets crawl up from the ground, he gets ready to fight back, when Gran Torino would then smirk, saying, "So things are super creepy," says the guy who's happy to be finding a child, Deku would say, as Gran Torino would then land back down, before then saying that before they go any further, he should put on his costume. "I won't attack you, I promise." Deku, despite not trusting him, would soon quickly suit up before asking, "Are you sure you can help me?" "Well, we're about to find out," Gran Torino would say. "There is something most experienced heroes notice when you were fighting. There is something hazy that surrounds you whenever you gather those blasts or summon your puppets." "Huh? Since when? I didn't notice anything like that." Gran Torino would then shrug his shoulders, saying that must be the manifestation of his emotions, which he uses to power himself. "What's your point?" Deku would ask, and Gran Torino then disappears and appears kicking him from the back, as Deku would then stumble forward, annoyed. "From now on, you can't use any of those puppets." "What?" Gran Torino would then land, saying that he's going to get him to bring out that hazy thing, but in full form. "There must be more to your quirk than just creating those puppets if you can use those massive blasts. Don't you want to get stronger?" Hearing this, Deku would nod with haste, as Gran Torino would then say that if that's the case, he has to at least try this method. So the two start training, and we are going to cut to Naomasa, and that's All Might's detective friend, if you didn't know. As he had just told All Might, he actually met Deku once. "Really?" All Might asked, as Naomasa would then nod, saying, "I wish I could have done much more for him. When I first met him, his eyes were lifeless, and that was just when he awakened his quirk." "Did something else happen?" All Might would ask, and this is when Naomasa would then say yes, but that is confidential. "For the sake of Midoriya, I can't release that information, not even to you." All Might then says he understands, but was simply curious because he's not on the news, and luckily people find Deku showing his scars to be courageous, but some people don't think the same because the internet and the world is like that, obviously, and I'm going for a sense of realism here. So we are going to do a time skip. It is already the next day, and Deku is still getting beat up by Gran Torino, but something different was happening, and Gran Torino was noticing the change in Deku. "He's close. I can literally feel it," Gran Torino would think, as he then goes to blast forward to Deku and kick him again, but this time he turns his head, bursting with this weird pressure, which makes the old man freeze, as he would then quickly land and back off. Both Deku and Gran Torino are surprised, and Deku would say, I felt it. Is this what you were talking about?" The old man would nod, asking him to quickly focus on what he was focusing on before, and try to bring it out quickly, and Deku closes his eyes and thinks about what was really driving him in that moment. While it may be a bit extreme, he realized that the idea that he could have died was what was driving him. "If this was a real battle, I would have died over 1,000 times. I don't want to just keep getting pummeled," he thought. And in this instant, out of his body bursts out this green faint aura covering his body. "Good work, boy. Open your eyes." As Deku does, he then sees this coat of energy covering him, and he says, "I feel like I can do it." He reaches his hand out, and from behind him forms and rises a puppet whose very stature towers over him and Gran Torino, and he smiles as Deku has summoned a new type of puppet. "This kid," Gran Torino would think, as he would then stare down this massive behemoth gorilla-looking puppet with 2 giant teeth popping out from under the bottom of its mouth. And the gorilla was actually gray color, unlike most of Deku's puppets. Deku doesn't know why the creature looks pretty, like, gray that way, but it also looks pretty badass. He then unsummons it, as Gran Torino then tells Deku that he believes that energy can enhance him physically, and he wants him to teach him how to do so. Well, it is technically possible. I do have a healing factor, so those scars must have been before you got your powers. Yeah. How do we move on from now? And this is when Gran Torino would say, you need an image, something to help you focus all that power. Don't think of it as super strength. It is energy. It's part of you. It's your emotions. Deku, hearing this, then thinks on it. It actually becomes very natural, as he is once again reminded of his dark past, and his mind is filled with the scene of Mechamaru blowing away a certain someone. As his mind is stained with blood, he explodes with the energy again, but this time it is even more clear and visible, as it would then slightly push back Gran Torino. I don't know how, but I more or less get it, Deku would say. As Gran Torino would then say good, as he then jumps up to kick him, only for Deku to dodge, before then elbowing him so hard that he slams into a wall and cracks it. Good. Focus on. He then stops when he sees Deku in a self-induced state of intense focus. His posture is unmoving, readying for an attack. He doesn't want Deku to forget this feeling, and it's clear that he's trying to keep his energy revving, so he'd say, I guess you don't really need words of encouragement now, do you? Then no more holding back. He then attacks, and they continue sparring, as by the end of the day, Deku gets a certain understanding of this energy, and when he's enhancing himself, he exerts the same force needed to break through a cement wall, and his speed matches that of a cheetah. On the 3rd day, Deku's growth intensifies even more, and Gran Torino theorizes that it maybe is because he has the ability to control his emotions subconsciously just because of his very nature and his past. And he notices that when Deku is agitated, which rarely happens, he loses control of the energy. But he thinks that Deku is more than ready to go get some real experience by this point, so as night falls, they leave to Hosu City. On the way to Hosu, Deku gets a call from Uraraka, who shares her progress with him, and he smiles at this, as Gran Torino then notice, asking, "What's up with you?" Deku says nothing before then texting Uraraka back and putting his phone away, but just as he does, a hero would then crash into the train, making everyone panic, as from the hole made, a flying Nomu shows itself with the screeching roar. What is that thing? People will be saying, as this is when the Nomu then gets punched by Mechamaru, who appears in front of it, and people calm down, as Gran Torino then asks if he can leave some of his puppets here. And Deku would then nod and clap his hands together, and more puppets would arise, and he would say, please cooperate with them, they won't hurt you, they'll help you evacuate. Oh, okay. Are those robots? One of the puppets would then turn, saying, we're puppets, it's completely different. Yeah, sure, sorry. Deku then jumps out, as does Mechamaru, and he creates a new wave from the metal on the train, which flies out and catches them. As they start to ride down, Gran Torino then leaps and lands on it, before then asking, can you speed up? Deku then nods, as the new wave's feather then turns into a black wall of sorts, so when they blast down at an intense speed after the Nomu, they aren't blown off, and Deku can make the new wave go as fast as he wants now. He's taking better advantage of the puppets. Good, Gran Torino thought. As they near the ground, mid-air, they pass the Nomu, and Mechamaru shoots a blast at its brain, killing it, and then they land as the new wave would disappear. Looking forward, the three then stand amongst chaos, fires everywhere, destroyed roads, and civilians being chased by Nomus all around, especially flying ones. Of course, there are heroes, but they can't just take care of everything, and Gran Torino tells Deku to make as many puppets as he can without exhausting himself to help the civilians, and he'll beat the Nomus. They then split up, and Deku was about to start to do his work when a female hero would then spot him and is about to tell Deku to get out of here, only for her to see puppets come out from under the ground around him, and then they start to spread and instantly start helping people. They take care of civilians and run away, save people from fires and put out fires, etc. He's really just a kid, the hero thought, as Deku would then notice her and ask her if she can help him with the evacuation, and he'll back her up as much as he can. She nods and gathers other heroes to do the same, and with the help of the puppets, they start saving more lives, and as Gran Torino is fighting the Nomus, he actually starts to get hit and a little bit pushed back when he is then saved by Endeavor, who surprises everyone with his presence. Endeavor then looks around, seeing Deku's puppets, and he grunts. The fact that he can stay so calm during this kind of shows potential. He's going to be a good hero one day. Gran Torino then thanks him for the help just as they look around, and they actually see the puppets are slowly disappearing, and Endeavor doesn't see Deku anymore, but then a mechanical bird would land on his head, a tiny one. He would notice it. It's one of Midoriya's. We then cut to Deku as he jumps from building to building when he soon spots something down in an alley. He has just found Ida about to be stabbed by Stain, and he can't make it in time. So, as Stain is about to stab Ida, he's then uppercutted by something, and as he is pushed back, he looks forward to see a robot in a costume. This would be Mechamaru, as Deku would then land down behind it in front of Ida. And this is when Ida would say, Midoriya? What the hell were you thinking? Deku would ask, as Deku would then also see Native in the alley and has Mechamaru attack Stain, who tries to stab this puppet, but his blade would shatter, and he's then punched so hard that he slams into the wall, all the way at the end of the alley. Stain quickly gets over this, however, and launches back, releasing a lot of bloodlust, only for Deku to release his own, showing eyes that are ready to kill. I thought you were a fake too. Seems like you're committed, Stain would yell, as he then keeps attacking and fighting Mechamaru, who still has the advantage, and Deku asks Ida if he's being affected by Stain's quirk. Midoriya, leave. What? This doesn't concern you, Ida would say. Deku, realizing he is clearly not in the right state of mind, ignores him as he would then decide to end this now. Hound formation. Stain is then quickly surrounded by blood-hungry hounds that snarl at him before then attacking so fast that he cannot counter, and he's tackled as the hounds will start to claw at him. He's definitely killed before, Stain will think, as the wolves then, after ripping him up good, then disappear, and Stain looks up and sees he's about to be punched, so he rolls over, before then jumping away down the alley from Mechamaru, only to then be kicked from behind, and he is sent flying by a puppet, obviously, and as he's sent forward towards Mechamaru, he strikes at him, only for him to disappear, and he then meets Deku, waiting for him with a punch, and he bursts with this eerie aura. I just made this new move. I hope you like it. As he approaches Deku, as he approaches Stain, as he approaches Deku, Stain is then punched in the stomach as he goes 40 feet into the air, coughing up blood, and slowly he descends before crashing down, as he cannot even move. He realizes that whatever is shouting Deku has spread internally, and he feels paralyzed. This is when Ida is released from his paralysis, and he starts instantly going towards Stain with intent to kill, as he pushes even Deku out of the way, but soon he stops and says, "You're not gonna stop me? You're not gonna do it," Deku would say. Ida gets mad hearing this, and he says he will, and he picks up a blade from Stain as he then runs and is about to stab Stain, who simply smiles, and a crack is then heard as he makes impact, and the blade will shatter, with Ida having missed Stain intentionally hitting the ground instead of his chest. Shit, I thought I could... Damn it! He throws away the sword, and Deku would then walk up to him saying, "Like I said, you weren't gonna do it, because you're a hero. No amount of pain will make you kill." At least that's what I think. Hearing this, he then looks up at Deku with tears in his eyes, just as Gran Torino and Endeavor would then arrive, and the two then turn to see them. "The hero killer?" Gran Torino would say. "Oh, sorry, I got the message right away, so I had to..." He's then kicked and interrupted in the face by Gran Torino, asking why the hell he disappeared, and Deku would apologize. "You're so stupid. Tell me next time." He then apologizes again, and he has Mechamaru reform and pick up Native while he drags Stain onto the streets, and as the group step out, some heroes come out and notice Deku, who is dragging the hero killer. "You beat him?" Deku, however, then points to Endeavor, saying, "Nope, he did, completely alone." Gran Torino, Ida, Native, and then Endeavor himself are caught off guard, with Deku then saying he has burn marks all over him, so it's clear that Endeavor did this, not him. They just picked him up and helped out a bit. I guess that does make a bit of sense. But hey, thanks for the help back there, kid. Your robots are really useful. Yeah, you're gonna be a good hero one day with a quirk like that. They're puppets, Deku would say, but thanks. As he says this, Todoroki then runs in on the scene with Deku waving to him, and he runs over asking if he's good. And Todoroki would then say, "The hero killer?" Deku then points to Endeavor, and Todoroki, while surprised by this, says he's not impressed or anything. Amidst this little moment, though, Gran Torino then tells him to watch out, and they hear growling, and they look up to see a flying Nomu, but Deku doesn't duck and points to it and yells Albatross, as Mechamaru, while copying Deku's movements, then points to the Nomu and releases a huge beam that just bursts to its brain, and as it crashes down, everyone gets out of the way, and his corpse just slides past them. "Does that make up for me leaving?" Deku would ask. Gran Torino would then say, "Hell no, it's not hard for you to beat those things." "Oh, come on," Deku would say. Now we fade to black. The next day comes, and Deku is leaving Gran Torino, and Deku would say, "Thank you so much, sir. You're lucky the police won't be getting you in trouble. Can't you just compliment me like a normal person?" Gran Torino says it's not that easy, before then asking, "What kind of hero do you want to be?" "My goal, I guess that's what you're asking? It's always to be someone like Aizawa-sensei. I want to make sure no one in the slums or inner cities or less popular cities are paid attention to, because I don't want them to go through what I did. An underground hero, that's kind of my goal." Gran Torino then smirks, thinking, "I think that might be a bit hard for you, Deku." And then says, "Alright then, you can leave now." "Who are you again?" At this point, Deku then pops a vein, saying, "Seriously? It's Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya?" "Really?" Gran Torino would ask, and Deku then says, "Yes, you think I would forget my own..." "Oh, never mind. You're right. It's Deku, sir." Gran Torino then smiles, nodding, as he then turns and goes home, and Deku runs off, as he gets a call from Todoroki saying that they're waiting for him at the station, both him and Ida, and so he hurries there. So the next day at UA, laughing will be heard as Bakugo is being made fun of for his new hairstyle. In anger of this, Bakugo makes it go back to normal as if he was a bomb, making Saro Kirishima laugh at him even more. And everyone has clearly changed in some way, especially Uraraka because she acting out here like she possessed or some shit. But also Deku. He was now aware of his energy, so he can admit it now, and he starts to understand the origin of his power. So now he was really gonna know how to navigate it well. By the way, are you too good? Minato would ask. You met the hero killer, right? Deku would then say, don't worry, Endeavor rescued us. Yeah, Sita would say, we were fine thanks to him. I made a very bad choice to try and fight him. That's my mistake. He may look somewhat normal, but he's terrifying. We're just glad you're safe, Kaminari would say, as Ida then thanks them, and he says that from now on he will try to be even more focused on his duties than ever, which shows he has become a little bit more driven, and since the class actually know that, Stain has hurt his brother, they found out later, they are just happy that he's not still holding on to a grudge like that. And then All Might comes and everyone goes to ground Gamma. So, we're gonna just do a little test to see what you learned through a race, All Might would say, as Baku would then say, that's easy, I'm gonna destroy all of you. Actually, I would like it if you refrain from doing whatever you were thinking of, young Bakugo. Okay? Are we good? Fine. Jeez, I'm not some kid, The students then enter the training ground and are brought to a watching platform with a big screen for them to watch the first crew of people race. The racers are Sero, Mina, Ida, Deku, and Ojiro. I'm betting on Deku, Uraraka would yell, and Jiro would then say, I mean, yeah, but this bird, he'll be fine, but I'm going for Sero on this one. This is totally his type of environment. And everyone starts betting, and this is when All Might then allows everyone to go. And instantly, of course, Sero does take the lead, using this environment to his advantage, which is his biggest strength because he's got that tape, and he gets past everyone. That is until everyone is shocked to see him be passed by Deku, not because Deku is weak, but because he's doing it himself and not using a puppet. Deku, as he passes Sero, moves at an insane speed, running and jumping from metal pipe to sliding on rails. Wait, do you guys see that? Mina would yell, and this is when Mina mentions it and everyone notices that Deku is covered by this strange energy. Hey, I see hot. What is that? Bakugo would ask, and Torogen says he doesn't know either, as he's just finding out at the same time as they are. But, Sato would say, isn't he super, you mean really fast? Definitely, Kirishima would say. Deku takes the lead, only using physical enhancement, surprising everyone, but as he takes his next step somewhere, he slips and he starts to fall. But as he is, however, he creates a puppet hand that reaches out from a pipe and he grabs onto it, which is what he uses to fling himself back into the air and out All Might. He's growing a lot. I'll have to ask him about that stuff covering him, but good work, Midoriya, All Might thought. Deku then lands and rolls next to All Might. He says, I really need to work out more. The others then arrive, but are down, one spot from the original. And Sero runs to Deku before then shaking him. Dude, when the hell did you have a physical enhancement quirk? I also like to know, Ojiro would say, and Deku then says to stop shaking him, and Sero does while apologizing. It's okay, Deku would say. That aura was my emotions, a manifestation of them. Character said that I could use massive beams, then why didn't I just use physical enhancement? So I did. Back at the platform, everyone sees Deku has gotten stronger again, and Bakugo is annoyed. I was messing around, he got ahead of me again. Damn it. Everyone then congratulates Deku and the others race until they go change and go to class, where they are told they will be soon going to the Forest Lodge, but if they don't pass their end of term test, they're not going, of course. Then let's do our best, everyone, Kirishima would say, and they all start focusing on studying, but Deku realizes that he needs to train his body because he feels his body lagged behind the energy output, making his movements a bit sloppy. So he's the perfect opposite of Yuji. So, during this week, not only does he study, he also hits the gym much more, and he goes a bit extreme, but he can heal fast, so that applies to his muscles as well. So he overloaded his muscles to an extreme point before then resting on one day before the test came. So we're gonna go to class 1A. Shit, I didn't study at all, Kaminari would yell, and as a matter of fact, none of them, well, most of them have not studied at all, and they don't exactly have the best ranks. Some people are not exactly at the best spot in studies, except for Momo. So Momo of course promises to help, and they're happy with that, and Bakugo then starts walking up to Deku asking, the hell's wrong with you? He notices Deku's dark heavy bags under his eyes, and Deku then say, I'm just exhausted. I went too hard. I hit the gym a bit. You? Hey, how strong are you when you're enhancing yourself? Deku then sits up saying, strong enough to lift a car, I think. It depends on me controlling my emotions. Even if that's nothing compared to the likes of All Might, that's insane, Bakugo would think. He then tells Deku he's not gonna fall behind, to which Deku was happy at because he seemed down a bit in the past week. Soon everyone goes to lunch, and Deku is eating when he senses ill intent and ducks down a bit as Monoma fails to hit him over on the head with his elbow by accident. Astounded, Monoma will then look back at Deku, who then asks, was that you, I sensed? Monoma would then say, oh, sorry, I just tripped a little bit. He's clearly lying, right? Uraraka would say, as Ida would then nod, and Monoma then goes to say something when he's knocked out by Kendo, who apologizes for the trouble. Deku says it's no problem, and Kendo then would bow, saying, we misunderstood you guys, so thank you for not hating us after what happened. It was simply competition. It's only to be expected we'd be a bit riled up, Ida would say. Yeah, it's fine, Deku would say. She then leaves and Monoma curses them as he had just woken up, so Kendo has to knock him out again. After this, everyone studies as best as they can, and then the day arrives, and everyone does the written test and then goes outside by the buses. And as they wait on the sidewalk, they're wearing their costumes, but one thing that is weird is that all the teachers are gathered up before them. What's going on here? Jiro would ask, and this is when Principal Nezu then shows himself from Aizawa's scarf, saying that the students would actually be fighting the teachers, shocking them all, as Nezu then lands, and he says, I'm afraid it's true. We're going to be focusing on more battle-oriented exercises. There have been way too many close calls. But fighting our senseis, Uraka would say in disbelief, and Sir would then say, this is beyond dangerous. They are then told to partner up, with Aizawa having Totoro and Yayarozu with him, and then he says, as for Deku and Bakugo, you'll be with him. He then points behind them as their classmates would gasp and the boys turn to see All Might. I'm looking forward to your performance. After this, everyone is driven to their own places by each teacher, and everyone arrives, and the speakers in each area go off, saying that their term test has started and they have 30 minutes, and this is of course from Recovery Girl, our sweet old healer. Deku and Bakugo then start walking down the streets of their terrain. They're not saying a word because they don't need to, with Deku then releasing his energy, and Bakugo then notices and he turns back to him. Something wrong, Deku would ask? Nothing, just don't slow me down. Watching from each battle in the monitoring room is Recovery Girl as she wonders about the chances of Deku and Bakugo being a good duo. This is when a strong shockwave blows back the two and destroys the surrounding buildings, and from the built-up dust cloud, they look around and see All Might walk out of it, before then dashing towards them, with Bakugo feeling this immense pressure that he's releasing. But Deku actually blitzes forward to meet All Might to his surprise, and he moves faster than he did before, and he kicks All Might in the face. He then lands, and he looks to see that while his kick did land, it actually barely did nothing. Not bad, All Might would say. Bakugo would then come up and attack with a huge explosion, but it is brushed aside as he is then grabbed by the face before then being slammed into the ground. But Deku then appears right beside him. He got even faster, All Might would think. I guess I was underestimating too much. You are All Might, Deku would say as he releases the full brunt of his power, striking and sending All Might flying into a building, shocking Bakugo and Recovery Girl. His strength is definitely incredible, but this is All Might, Recovery Girl would think. Bakugo would then get up telling Deku to stay out of his way, and Deku would say, what the hell are you talking about? This is a team thing, stop being stupid. As they're talking is then when they're both punched in the stomach, getting sent flying into the air, before All Might then appears behind the two, kicking them back into the ground. Quickly they get up, but Bakugo is more hurt than Deku is, and All Might is already in front of them about to attack, only for his arms to be stopped as out of the ground come out the new Gorilla Mode puppet, towering over All Might and holding him back. Damn, with a strong grip, All Might would say, as the gorilla would then backslap, like a backhand All Might with intense force, sending him flying before he barely stops and spits out blood, and he looks to see the new puppet radiating the same energy as Deku does. Attack, Deku would say. The gorilla would then pound his chest before then leaping towards All Might, who jumps and tackles it into the air, but the gorilla then sends a punch into his side, making him lessen his grip and wince in pain. So he lets go before then getting smacked in the jaw and sent flying towards the ground, where Bakugo waits with an explosion, which he blasts into his back after waiting for just when he makes physical contact, and uses his new move, AP Shot. But even though this hits, he gets slammed into the ground with All Might weighing on him. Bakugo, are you good? Deku would yell, and then Bakugo will under All Might keeps blasting him, and he eventually gets up and then looks at Deku saying, you made another one, huh? The gorilla then slams down, shaking the ground as it pounds his chest once again and radiating with this energy. He made something that can put up a fight against me. It has good power and durability. I need to take out Midoriya first, All Might would think. However, Bakugo would then say not to ignore him as he then blasts All Might again and again, trying to beat him, and this is to give Deku's gorilla any way to attack, so he jumps in himself. Surprisingly, however, he is then blasted at by Bakugo, making him dodge and crash into the ground. All Might then grabbed Bakugo by the face through his barrage, asking, is hitting your own teammate really the most effective strategy? Shut up, he won't get in my way, Bakugo would say. And by this point, it's obvious Bakugo is trying to beat All Might one-on-one, and Deku would then get up, exploding with cursed energy, causing Bakugo to stop moving as he feels this intense rage from Deku, who then says, I'm gonna fucking kill you. This immense pressure hits Bakugo as Deku would then say, I was gonna work with you, you know? But you don't want to, so screw it, I'm doing everything myself. All Might at this moment is grabbed from the ground by his hands, and while he's distracted, Bakugo was then snatched away, while All Might then tries to go after him, but the gorilla would then get in his way, and the arm that was pulling him back then disappears. Oh, this isn't good, All Might would say. As the gorilla then holds him off, Deku runs off with Bakugo before then throwing him with intense force. If you come back here, I'm gonna fucking murder you, so don't you dare, Bakugo! A scared Bakugo was then thrown into the air, and he then scoffs as he accelerates mid-air with explosions, and as he's nearing the gate is when All Might jumps after him while being chased by the gorilla, and Deku would think, he got close, way too close. As All Might almost grabs Bakugo by the feet, however, he's then grabbed by the gorilla, and Bakugo then lands running past the gate and winning for their team. Meanwhile, All Might is pulled down and thrown to the ground, and as he then stands up and looks back to see the gorilla elongating its hand, which then releases All Might and it completely retracts. Being amazed at the creativity, he then stands up looking back and smiles at Deku, saying, "You actually got me. You both passed." Deku then disobeys the gorilla as he walks past All Might, saying, "Sometimes I wonder why I tried with that guy." All Might can tell he's clearly annoyed, but luckily they were the first to pass, so they should be pretty happy. But Bakugo's idiotic thinking almost ruined everything, and Deku, as he reaches and walks to the gate, he will then say, "Why don't you control yourself, you idiot? You think you can just take down the #1 hero by fighting that way?" Bakugo was then annoyed, but can't retort, as Recovery Girl back in the monitor room then sighs, saying, "Oh, in the end it worked out, didn't it? At least they passed." This was announced to the other teams, and they're happy to hear they passed, but it's surprising they did so with such speed. And after this, everyone then fights in the same way, but much more efficiently, with Bakugo and Deku coming to watch them on the monitors. And when the others pass or fail, they come to the monitor room to watch their tests, the other people test, until it is over. And the next day, everyone is in class, nervously wondering about how their performance will be received. Mina, while crying, will then say she's hoping that they at least get good stories to tell her after they come back from the Forest Lodge, and Deku would say, "Hey, don't speak like that." Knowing Aizawa-sensei, he's probably just gonna say this was another ruse of his. "Maybe you shouldn't say that, you might jinx it," Sir would say, and Kaminari would then say, "How did you guys even get past All Might?" Deku then looks at Bakugo with annoyance, and everyone can sense something big happen, and Bakugo probably did something that was a major pain in the ass. But then Aizawa walks in and says, "Sit down." As he says so abruptly, everyone then, of course, sits down and get quiet, and he walks over to the podium. "Alright, I know you're dying to know about your results, and not all of you passed, obviously. But everyone will still be going to the Forest Lodge." They're all shocked with Deku then saying, "See? Well, still, Kaminari would say. And this is when, of course, anyway, this is good news. I don't have to say much more. This is good news, but Aizawa says that those who have failed will take some lessons, so they still get some punishment. And because they're going to be going to a 1-week boot camp, everyone decides to go shopping, excluding Bakugo, Todoroki, and Ojiro, and they go to the Kiyashi Ward shopping mall. I hope I got that right. And on a bright sunny day, everyone except those 3 people I mentioned would be there. Well, haven't been here in a while. Alright, let's do this, Deku thought. Meanwhile, far off, we'll be watching Shigaraki as he smiles, thinking that he was gonna get some payback, like a petty little fucking bitch. So, how will Deku deal with this, and how will the Forest Lodge go? Find out in the upcoming parts. It's been me, of course, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Welcome to the end of the video, y'all. Tell me what you thought I did right about this. Tell me what I did wrong, by your standards at least. And I just hope you had fun while watching this. And also, the days are getting nearer. Literally just 2 days and I can go watch JJK0 in freaking theaters. Bro, I am actually so hype. I actually can't contain my excitement. And it's on a Friday. That's so perfect. Like, holy crap, these people actually thought about it. Student schedules. Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, hope this was fun for you. The next video will be what if Asta was Itachi's reincarnation. So have fun with that. And yeah, that's about all I wanted to say. I'm gonna start working on the new video for the second channel, the new part for it. But yeah, go check out my channel over there. With Dark King. If I haven't gotten that through your skull, please go subscribe as well. We're almost at 1K. I think we're reaching 800 now, so that's pretty good. Alright, stay safe, do all that, study, and peace.